Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Arsenal show. And where, where did we start? I had a script. I had it all ready, and just like in a matter of just like 20 minutes, it's just absolutely just blowing everything out the window. But I'm not going to start on a negative. I'm going to start tonight's show on a positive. We will get to the main story of the evening, which is something that's obviously just hit in the last few minutes. But before we do, I'd like to welcome my co-host tonight, Jerome Marks. How you doing, Jerome?
Yeah, good, Steve. It's all kicking off, as they say, isn't it? It's all happening, and plenty to talk about.
Kicks off is an understatement. There seems to be a lot of angry Arsenal fans at the moment. But look, all I can say is, up to now we was all happy. So, and there's a long time in this window yet, and there's plenty of other players out there. So, look, we're going to get going with something positive. What we're going to talk about tonight's show was a positive show. Arsenal looking into all sorts of players. Edu and Arteta, on fire in the transfer market. Going to do some early business. Has got some early business done. So we're going to talk about some of that tonight. But first, let's like I already said, let's start on something positive. Gabriel Jesus is an Arsenal player. He's an Arsenal player. We don't care about Rafinha. Gabriel Jesus is an Arsenal player. He's completed his medical. All we are now waiting for is an official statement from the club. I was told last Monday that a deal would be agreed on Friday. We announced it on last week's show, and on the Friday, a fee was agreed for £45 million between Arsenal and Manchester City. Jesus is signed until 2027, a wage of which I'm told is around 200k a week, which is a massive wages. That's not been confirmed yet. That's just something that I've been told. We'll wait and see if that comes to pass. He'll wear the number 9 shirt, the famous Arsenal number 9 shirt. For me, for one, I'm excited. I can't wait to see him play. Jerome, how do you feel about the signing?
No, brilliant. It's obviously that was Arsenal's, I guess, first choice option, and they've got him like you mentioned. It's an amazing signing, really, considering a couple of things. That he's obviously just won the league, and he's now going to be playing for a club that isn't even in the Champions League.
Yeah,
I mean that shows that Arsenal have still got the pulling power. They can still attract very, very big names, and I think towards the end of last season, obviously Arsenal fans very rightly so, really wanted to qualify for the Champions League because they feared perhaps that maybe we couldn't attract this sort of player. And signing Jesus is just evidence that you don't have to be in the Champions League to attract these types of players. And it's an excellent signing and really exciting. Great, I think the type of centre forward that we like in terms of being mobile, offering us something a bit different. Yeah. And very excited to see how he gels with our other attacking players. And fair play to Edu and Arteta for sealing the deal.
Yeah, really. and it looks like Kroenke and is back in us for once. We've already just gone and bought Fabio Vieira. For good money. Looks like a great signing, and now he's bringing in Gabriel Jesus. I mean. The wages, Jerome. It's a big wages. It's 200k. Do you think that was something that we had to do to get him here?
Yeah, I think so. I think considering, like we said, he's not going to be playing Champions League football. You got to try and compensate for that in some way, and so the wages are obviously part of that. But in terms of the transfer fee, I mean, I know you can't really consider it without the fact he had a year's left on his contract. But if he didn't have a year's left on his contract, then there's no way Man City would be selling for 45 million.
Yeah,
I don't know what the price would be, but you'd think it would be a hell of a lot more.
Yeah,
45 million, considering what other players are going for, what other strikers are going for. And so you sort of take that, and we've cleared a lot off the wage bill, and I'm sure a lot more will come off as well. And so, you're freeing up some wages to spend, hopefully, on some top quality players, and so big wage, but you got to pay it. You got to pay it.
Absolutely, Matt. I totally agree with you. I think we've got to pay this money. I think for a long time now we've sort of dillied and dallied in that department, not giving people enough wages. I think it's something that we've had to do. And if you want to, attract Champions League players or the quality of someone like Gabriel Jesus, this is what we've got to do. You got to make you got to make some kind of stand somewhere. But I think it's an excellent signing for us. I mean, we can see going across the bottom of the screen there, Joe. We've got Edu and Arteta are on fire. Looks like Kroenke's backing them, like we said at the beginning of the show. Do you think it was like the fact that we've gone out the Champions League? I mean, people could call it a failure, I suppose. When you look towards the end of the season, the way we sort of collapsed, if you like, it was to some degree a failure. I mean, is it turning in the blessing in disguise? Has he gone to Kroenke and he's said, "Look, pal, if it wasn't for you, you would have backed me in January. We would have been in the Champions League. You lost a lot of money, mate." What do you think?
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it. Possibly. I think that the fact that they didn't spend anything in January, I reckon Arteta must have been assured that, we won't give you anything in January, but in the summer, like you can sort of splash out, and hopefully that's going to be the case. But I mean, there's so much competition these days to get to qualify for the Champions League. Like if you don't spend some money, you're just going to get left behind unless you are super clever in your scouting, and your coaching is exceptional. And, you do have to pay up sometimes. And maybe the fact they didn't qualify, maybe that's given them a bit more hunger, hopefully, to try and make sure that next season is a lot more successful than the season that's just gone.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you, mate. Before we go on, just a little bit of housekeeping. If you can just like, you can subscribe. People on Twitter, I can see you all. I can see you in your droves. I can see you in your thousands. I can see you chatting amongst yourself. All this is going on with Feeney. I can see you buzzing about Jesus. Come over here. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. Tell us what you think about Rafinha that's happened tonight. Tell us what you think about the Jesus signing. Like and subscribe and share it. It helps us a lot. And come and join the family. Jerome, we've got to talk about it. 10 minutes. We've had the buzz of the Jesus. It's a great signing. We all thought that we was going to get someone else. We all thought we was going to get Rafinha. In the last 10, we already put in a first bid that was turned down. We don't know what that bid was. It's not come to pass what it was. All we know now is that Arsenal have came in with a second bid. Again, it's not been enough. To me, it had been totally clear from day one that Leeds were never going to accept anything but the bid, the offer that the asking price. So personally, for me, I don't know, tell us in the comments. I'm quite upset that Arsenal have gone back in. I've had it from the massive, the biggest of Arsenal sources, literally 5 minutes before I come on tonight, right, is that literally Arsenal have gone in now with the attitude of they won't pay the money. They was never going to pay the full price, which I can't work out. It seems a waste of time. And that was the same source that gave me the information about Gabriel Jesus. Jerome, Chelsea have gone in. I suppose you've got to give them a pat on the back. But first, Arsenal. Tell us what you think. We've just spoke about how great it was to have Gabriel Jesus. How disappointed are you not to have Rafinha, or is it something that's not bothered you?
Yeah, well, it's so obviously only just sort of come out, the news. The initial thought was definitely very much like what you just said, like disappointed, because I think a lot of Arsenal fans have built themselves up to the idea that he's coming. They've seen all the cropped pictures of him in the Arsenal kit with Jesus and Martinelli, the other Brazilians, and getting quite excited about it. I am disappointed because I think it's definitely the type of player that we could do with to add some quality depth to our forward line. I'm a bit surprised in if the fact is that Arsenal aren't going to pay what's needed, because I think they've thrown their money about, and maybe it's
maybe they
hard
got
to
other target. Maybe there's
maybe
someone
they have other
else.
targets. Maybe they wanted to drive up the price. I'm surprised. I thought Arsenal's stance, to be honest with you, would be as long as the money isn't astronomical. If we want a player, we got to pay the money and get him.
Yeah,
I thought that's the way that Arsenal would look at it nowadays. You know, they're not asking for 80, 90 million leagues.
No,
you're probably paying 10 or 15 more than what you really want to pay. And in the grand scheme of things, with the Champions League money that comes into it, the fact that you've got a lot of players, I think, that you could sell and raise money. The fact that I've mentioned before that a lot of our other forward players, or not a lot, but Smith Rowe, Saka, Martinelli, they've basically cost you nothing. Then maybe you can. I know obviously the Pepe deal was separate, but those three players have cost you nothing. Then maybe you do need to pay a bit more than what you ideally want. But the way I look at it is that maybe they don't really want him, because I think if you do, then I think you got to pay over the odds. Like everything in football now is over the odds, isn't it? Like the burgers at half time are over the odds.
Arsenal's burgers are. Tell you that they're ridiculous.
Everything, ticket prices, everything is over the odds, and there's no difference with players.
I mean, look, I've just had a quick. I've just had a text through on my phone, and I'm looking at it now, and apparently Arsenal went in for a bid for 50 million, which I find absolutely ridiculous. If that's true, what I've got, there is a couple of sources that I've got higher than I've got this from, but if that true is, if that source is true, and Arsenal I'm baffled.
Yeah, the thing is as well is that are we taking into account, like, do you think the player has a bit of say? Like the player says, look, this is where I want to go. Maybe he's not fussed.
No, I mean, I think I think the player's definitely got to say. I mean, we're forgetting the fact that it was done and dusted with Barcelona. I mean, Barcelona, he was a Barcelona player. Everything was agreed with Barcelona. Personal terms were agreed with Barcelona. He said that if Barcelona paid the price, he would have gone to Barcelona. So he hasn't got his first choice. And obviously he's probably left it into the hands. Look, again, we can go back, Jerome. It could be a player's decision. He could have been guaranteed game time at Arsenal. If they did move Saka out to the left, is he guaranteed game time at Chelsea? I don't know. I don't think he will be. Especially if they get Sterling, they've got Mount, they've got Havertz who play in that area. They've got Pulisic. They've got a number of players. But 50 million, mate. I mean, does that upset you to hear that?
Do you mean because that's close to what they want, or because
they wanted 60? They wanted 60. So I'm assuming that Barcelona went in with 40 and and just got told to go away that first time. Yeah. So personally, I can't work out. To me, Leeds were never going to take anything but, and Chelsea have gone in. Yeah.
Yeah. Mate, it's a real tricky one. This.
Yeah.
Look,
it could be Champions League football.
Look, it's not over yet. It's not a done deal yet, is it? So
no, it's not.
But,
it's not. It's not. But Arsenal, I can't see going back in with a third bid to match it unless. They must have known Chelsea were in for him. We all knew Chelsea were there or thereabouts. We knew Barcelona were well in for him. So that, they didn't know what offers they was going to go in, and Arsenal have got in for 50. So it tells you a little bit that were they that bothered?
Yeah. Also, I don't know how much the agent has to do with this. I know he's obviously a former Chelsea player, isn't he?
Deco, yeah.
I don't know if
that's a good point.
I don't know if that's got anything to do with it at all, and he would prefer his client, even though I don't think it should anything really to do with the agent. It should just be the player's decision. But I'm sure the agent has his say.
Yeah. Look, let's read a few of these comments. Got quite a few comments tonight. Stephen, how you doing, mate? Good to see you here. Stephen is saying, and I'm looking forward to the show, guys. Bring the news. Chelsea front runners favourites to sign Rafinha. His preferred club over Arsenal. We were his third choice. What now for Arsenal? Yes, everything there is spot on. It does look like we was his third choice. Jerome, what now? Do we look for someone else in that same position?
I think you have to. If they had that type of player in mind and they were prepared to spend a lot of money, then they obviously feel that that's a position that is important. So I think they must have someone else in mind. Who that player is exactly,
don't know.
I'm not too sure.
It could be anyone, couldn't it? It could be anyone. Let's go through a few more of these comments. Matthew White, how you doing, Matthew? Thanks for joining us tonight. Interested to see what we do next. Whether that's up in the bid via Goal Brazil. So obviously, Matthew's saying that Goal in Brazil have said that we may go picking up the bid. That's something we'll have to wait and see. But from what I'm hearing, they're in pretty heavy talks now, Leeds, with the Rafinha camp. So we'll wait and see on that. Fingers crossed that you're right there, Matthew. Or we move on to another winger. Serge would be a fairy tale. The Wanderer returns. Serge Gnabry. Matthew would like to see Serge back, Jerome. What do you think? Would you like to see Serge back over on that right hand side?
Oh yeah, that I mean, yeah, that would be quality to get Gnabry back. But I don't know. It's been a bit. There hasn't really been much recently about Gnabry, and I don't know. It's a shame that he left initially. Really,
it was.
We got rid of him way too soon.
Yeah. But he wasn't really showing much, was he, for Arsenal at the time? And
nah, there was competition, I think, as well with like Walcott on the wing.
People were putting Reece Nelson in front of him at one point, so it was ridiculous at the time. But or maybe that was a little bit after. But
Gnabry, that would be ideal. I think you've set the bar really high with someone like Rafinha, so anyone that comes in has got to be sort of close to that level, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Stephen's saying the same thing. He thinks Gnabry would be a fantastic signing. It seems that the people in the comments are siding towards Gnabry. Matthew's turned man and he's replying to Stephen and he said it would be a dream, but I highly doubt it. Well, look, I want to put it out of the question because he's not signing a new contract with Bayern Munich, so that's not happening. So you can forget that. So you can look at Gnabry moving on, and he has said in the past that he would like to return to Arsenal. He also has said that he would like to play Champions League football. Is that we've said earlier, Jerome, about like how it could be a blessing in disguise, but I suppose on the other foot it could turn out to be a right kick in the teeth, couldn't it? On some other respects. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, if a player's got his heart set on playing in the Champions League, then obviously that's not something we can offer this season.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, maybe the season after, but not for this season, unfortunately.
Yeah. So move on with Rafinha. You have to. Happy with what we've done so far. In the transfer market, mate.
Yeah, I think there's obviously a bit more to do, but it's good to see that we've signed a few players quite early on into the window. Normally, we sort of wait until we've played a few Premier League games, then we sign some players.
Well, another player that we've already signed is we can all say welcome to Arsenal to Matty Turner. He has signed a long-term contract from MSL club New England Revolution. He has already endeared himself to Arsenal fans by refusing to sign the Spurs shirt in his final game for his former club. And you would endear him to Arsenal fans. That's for sure. But look, Matty's already said he's excited to be at Arsenal. I mean, he said he's blessed, he's grateful, he's honoured, he's proud, and he's humbled Oh, he is grateful, isn't he, to be at Arsenal with all those words there. And every other emotion. The support over the last few months has made me feel my family feel at home. And now it's time to get to work. Matty Turner, mate. I don't know how much you've seen of him. He's only played 5 games for New England Revolution. He's let in 7 goals. and with only 1 clean sheet. Does that worry you? Or not really?
Look, he's obviously coming in to be the backup, isn't he?
Yeah.
And like you said, he's come across as like a massive Arsenal fan. Like you can see how happy and pleased he is to be there. There was a little video that the club put out today of like Edu welcoming him and showing him around the training ground. And he's such a fan. He's such a big Arsenal fan. He seems like such a down to earth guy as well. And I'm sure he's super grateful for the opportunity. And I don't know how much we can read into his performances so far. Like I'm sure he'll play in the Europa League. I'm sure he'll play in the cups. Let's see how he does. Like I'm looking at him with like a very much open mind, because he's going to be playing with, behind a brand new defence, all different players. It's just going to be a totally different scenario to what he's played in. So let's see what he's all about. Give him a chance, and let's face it, we probably won't see a lot of him, to be fair, if he's the second choice.
No, I mean, look, not to worry, Arsenal fan. I was talking to someone who's very, quite an expert on the in the MSL soccer, if that's what we should call it, soccer, just to make Matty feel at home. And he said he's not really. He's definitely, obviously, not number 1, and the Premiership for a number 2. If they told me that if Ramsdale gets injured, then he would worry a little bit having him in goal all the time. A point, and then I straight away went and had a look at his stats, and then I got worried because there's something I hadn't really looked at. Now there isn't really much out there about Leno leaving,
Yeah.
The point that was made in this conversation was that, could Leno still be fighting out with Ramsdale? Could Matty Turner be the number 3 goalkeeper?
I don't think they would spend, was it about £7 or £8 million on the third choice goalie. That's my view on it.
Would you like to see that if we had those 3? Or would you rather get the money for Leno and then move on?
I think you'd rather take the money for Leno, and I think if Leno's staying, I don't think you sign Matt Turner. Is my honest. I don't think he's come to be third choice.
Where do you think? Where do you think's the most important position at the moment for Arsenal to go next? We've got the centre forward now. We've got our backup goalkeeper. We've got Fabio Vieira come through, who can basically play anywhere, probably across the front there.
Yeah.
If you was Arteta, your Edu, in your moment in time, this minute now, where are you going? Where are you looking?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I'm always big on centre midfield, but I tell you what, because of his injuries, I think left back is massive, because Tierney is not playing 38 league games. Impossible, not going to happen. I think you got to have, if you're going to spend big on an understudy, I think left back is where you spend big on an understudy, because your left back is going to miss half of the season. So I think they need to sort out the left back, because it doesn't seem as though maybe Arteta has full belief or trust in Tavares. And if he doesn't, that's a problem. So I would say left back. I think by the sounds of things, maybe they are looking for a left back.
Well, that leads on nicely, actually.
Oh, I've just spotted what you've come up underneath.
just like the way that just sort of, just sort of slided in, just
Very smooth.
perfectly into what I was going to talk about. It very smooth indeed. Yeah. Lisandro Martinez. Now, this is a player that we spoke about last week. This is a player that we was waiting for Arsenal to come in with a second bid. We was hoping that he was a second bid. We spoke about him, Jerome. I think you give him quite a glowing reference on last week's show. Well, Arsenal did make that second bid. It was a 40 million for the Ajax and Argentine international. What's happening at the moment? We're waiting to see what the answer from Ajax is to that bid. I'm hearing that it's positive, and Arsenal ain't too far away from their asking price. The asking price was around 50 million. So I've been told that 45 should seal the deal. If Arsenal are prepared to pay it, of course. Manchester United, they're ultra interested, but they would rather bring in Anthony and put their remainder of the budget, there. I mean, Jerome. I mean, how important? You've already said that you'd rather have a left back. Is it mega important? Do you think we should get someone in who can replace Kieran Tierney?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's been injured. Obviously, he got injured towards the end of last season, and whatever injury he had, you could easily see him not starting the season. Tierney, just because he's always injured. So I think you've got to have someone very strong at left back, because he's going to miss so many games, and I'm glad that they are looking a solid left back.
Yeah, and they are going. It's a very strong. They've Arsenal going very strong into this. That's they want him badly, and I can see why, Jerome, because he just can play everywhere. He can play as a left back. He can play as a centre back. He can cover for Xhaka and Partey if one or the other gets injured, or he can even came in to replace one of them if one of them's off form. And look, his stats this season, Jerome, are very, very good. I mean, his passes completed in the Eredivisie was 82.27%, which was first, so he was the best. This is for a centre back, of course. His passes into the final third. He was the third best in the Eredivisie. I wish they make that name a little bit easier to pronounce. It's a bit hard. His shots conceded in the league was first, which was with 4.52. He was the best, and the only sort of thing he does lack in is his aerial ability, which is not fantastic, but an incredible, versatile footballer who can play either centre back and left back. I mean, does it with him coming in? Would is Saliba worrying? Would it worry you that he could be moved on or put not out on loan? I think the next thing for Saliba is if he's either like a stalwart in the side now and part of the squad, or he gets sold. Because I can't.
Yeah.
Want to see the point. How do you see his? Going on from here, Saliba. Where do you see his place?
Yeah, so it doesn't really worry me. Martinez hopefully coming in, it doesn't worry me that it will affect Saliba, because I think if Martinez plays centre back, he'll play on the left because he's left-footed, and Saliba for me will play on the right. So I don't think it will affect Saliba's position at all in the side. Mate, I don't think it'll affect any of the defenders. I don't even Rob Holding. I think Arteta likes having him around. I don't think it will affect.
Is there a fee that would come in? People in the comments, I'd like to know what you think. Is there a fee for Saliba if Martinez come in that you would take, or is he someone you think's too good to sort of even sell now, and if you just want to see him play?
Yeah, it's incredible to talk about a player, about selling him, and we've never ever seen him play for Arsenal. So it's hard to answer. I mean, if someone comes and says, here's 70, 80 million, then obviously you sell him. But
yeah,
I think there's been such hype about him, and he's been spoken about for so long, that I think people just want to see him play.
Yeah.
So, and then sort of make up their minds.
Yeah.
Give him a chance. Honestly, it's going to be so interesting to see how much he plays this season. Like, you'd imagine that White and Gabriel is the first choice, wouldn't you? You'd imagine that's what Arteta will go with.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season, I can imagine it, Jerome. I can't imagine him coming straight in and playing.
Nah.
But from what I haven't seen much of him, to be honest with you. But from what I have seen, I think he's got the ability to, take over from Gabriel. I really do. I think he's quality. I think he wouldn't be in the French squad, would he?
No, that's the point.
Unless he had something quite special. Personally, I would hate to see him go. I want to see him play now, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think he's trying to, build a squad. So, we're at, we'll have to just wait and see what happens from there.
You know what?
Go on, mate.
You know what, Steve? There's an expression that I don't really like, but it does get used. Is like a new signing. When say a player's been out for a long time and they come back.
Yeah.
The manager says, like Wenger used to say, like, it's like a new signing. But with Saliba, it really is like it, because he hasn't played. It literally is like a new signing for us. I would say this is that occasion where he pretty much is, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because we've never seen him play.
Yeah. I mean, something I don't think we ever spoke about. We spoke about the fixtures that have come out, Jerome.
Yeah.
It's always an exciting time, isn't it, when the old fixtures come out?
Yeah.
And I seem to have forgotten about it just because there's so much been going on in the transfer window. I want to ask you first game of the season where Arsenal have got Crystal Palace away.
Yeah.
We couldn't have gotten any harder, could we? I mean, I know you can get a Man City, you can get a Liverpool and your Chelsea, but we're notoriously bad when we played Crystal Palace lately. What about the start of the season, Jerome? How do you feel about it? How do you think we'll do?
I'll take a point right now in that Palace game.
Really?
Absolutely. 100%. I'll take a point now.
Wow.
It's just one of those games where the crowd are going to be bang up for it. You'll have Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher cheerleading on the side with their Crystal Palace pom-poms, wanting them to win. Zaha always raises his game against us. He loves playing against us, and when we played, so it's such a hard fix. It's live on TV as well, under the lights. It's not like a Saturday 3:00 kickoff. Could have the whole of the country's going to be on it, aren't they? That's it. The fans are going to be buzzing to be back for the first game. It's a proper hard game.
It's very similar to the Brentford one last year, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty much identical, to be honest.
And
I think that God knows what team we're going to have out, because with these new signings, hopefully there'll be a couple of them playing. If this was last season and this fixture was out, you'd be like, you can't concede first. Like, don't concede first. But look, we're still a few weeks away from it.
Yeah.
But,
what do you think about? I mean, last week I made I think you was quite quiet when I said it, so I had a funny feeling you probably didn't agree with what I said.
Oh God.
But now I've got you on your own. People, I've got him on his own now, so now he's trapped, so he can't get away.
Now I can't sit on the fence.
I've got him in this 1-2 boxes, so
I can't give a no comment, can I?
Yeah. Last week I have to fight through Kieran, and I just couldn't get to him anymore. But now he's got no protection at all. He ain't got the big man here. But no, in all seriousness, I'd like to know what you think. I said last week that I don't think he thinks Martinelli and Smith are ready.
Right.
For the first team, and it was like when you just brought up just then about our team for the start of the season. Being Arsenal fans, we're always going to look at what we got now, aren't we? Because we just never know, if we're going to get something else. What do you think about Smith Rowe? Where do you think in their game can they improve? Do you think they're not far off? Do you think they're ready to put us through to Champions League football? Do you feel that what I feel to the degree is that he is looking for other players and he's looking at them as part of the squad? Yeah. Which a few months ago we would have thought, no way. But what's your feelings on these two?
That's a good point. I don't think I did. I was thinking that I was disagreeing with you at all, actually. And now you've. I was just probably being quiet, but. Now you've brought up. This is where I am on both.
Now you're disagreeing with me now.
This is where on both of those players, if you look at them, just purely rate them as footballers, I think they're both top class. I think they're brilliant footballers with so much ability. They both offer very different things, but they're amazing. My not issue with them, because it's not an issue at all. But if I was to criticise them and add to what you're saying in terms of not being ready, it's just that it's the inconsistency where they can have games or big blocks of periods within games where just nothing happens and you don't notice them. You forget them on the pitch and you think, I should make a sub because they're not doing anything. I might as well have someone else on the pitch. I think once they're, and this maybe just comes with age, but once they can add the consistency in their performances, then I think they'll be undroppable. Both of them, but
really, But
that is the concern with them. It's not even a concern because they're young and young players. Obviously, they are inconsistent, maybe more so than more senior players. I just know they've got so much ability that it's just about getting it out of them for maybe 60, 70 minutes in a match rather than little 5 or 10 minute bursts of quality. But I rate them both so highly. Like when Smith Rowe came into the side, when Arteta's job was, well up for grabs sort of thing. I think Smith Rowe saved him basically when he came into the team, when he played against Chelsea. He just added something totally different to the team that we didn't have. And Martinelli has got such a high ceiling. Like he could be incredible.
He could be anything, couldn't he? He could.
You could see he's the type of player that Madrid could come in with a big bid for him, and he could end up at Madrid. Yeah. In terms of the ability that he's got, so it's just about this is where Arteta's got to earn his crust a bit, earn his corn is to try and get the consistency out of these players because you don't need to tell them how to play football. They've got the ability. They just need to maybe I don't know what needs to happen with them. Just need to be managed properly.
Maybe just elements of their game. Do you know what would be perfect is if you could combine those two into one player and give them each one a different attribute. If you had to give one or the other each one of the other one's attribute, what would it be?
God, that's a good question.
Because I think it would make him the perfect player if there was certain things out of each game.
Yeah, I think Smith Rowe keeps the ball very well. So maybe you'd add that to Martinelli's game. But,
definitely, 100%.
Perhaps.
I think he's more calmer, isn't he, Smith Rowe? He's got that more of a relaxed sort of persona about him, where Martinelli's a bit 100 mile an hour.
Yeah.
So go on, mate.
Yeah, I'll tell you what doesn't help him maybe is that because they generally play out wide, and so because of their positions, maybe they are not involved as much.
Yeah.
Just by nature of the positions that they play in. You know, if you're playing centre midfield, you're seeing the ball the whole time, aren't you?
Yeah.
If you're a fullback, you're seeing a lot of the ball, whereas the wider players maybe don't see as much of it.
Do you think he's got the confidence, Smith Rowe? Do you think he needs more confidence?
Yeah, I think that's, if there's going to be anything that's going to let him down, I think it's going to be the mental side.
Do you know why I'd say that? You know what? I mean, again, you can disagree. I think since the rise of Martin Odegaard in the side, that's when you've seen Emil Smith Rowe drop a bit. Because I think he's taken a little bit of his thunder. Because before then it was Smith Rowe plays, Odegaard comes off the bench. Now it's sort of maybe twisted itself. And do you agree that they're putting it, Smith? Does he play out of position now because he tends to play over on the left? He's not as good as on the left-sided than. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe do you feel that the rise of Odegaard has hindered him in a way?
It's a good point. I'm not sure, but my little concern with Smith Rowe, in terms of the mental side, is that when you hear him speak, I just think he sounds like someone that is very, very shy. And I don't know if he's got that, like, not that you have to have it, but like a killer mentality. Like, I just think he just comes across as a very shy individual.
Yeah,
look,
we're going back to the confidence again.
I might be completely wrong on that. I might be reading the situation wrong.
No, I don't think you are.
It's just the way he speaks. I know you can't always say that that's the way he speaks, so that's the way he plays. But there's just something there that I'm a bit, maybe slightly concerned about. Because I think if you want to be this top player, not that you need to have like arrogance or be cocky, but I think you've got to believe that you're good, like in a nice way. And I don't know, like he is obviously still quite young in terms of experience and age, but Martinelli's got that killer instinct, isn't he? Like he's a killer. He goes on the pitch and he's got that. Whereas Smith Rowe, he performs well, but there's just that nagging thing in my head with him in terms of that sort of mental side.
Yeah,
maybe that's just how he is, and it's going to be very difficult to change. Perhaps
there was my points to the fact that, like, if Martinelli had the calmness of Smith Rowe, and Martinelli was to give Emil Smith Rowe that little bit more of his confidence that he has, you would combine to having the absolute perfect footballer.
Yeah.
But it's just worried me because of the players that we'd linked with, and it just sort of thought, they're not. Maybe you don't feel that at the moment they could get us to fourth place in the side, but if they got consistent, then like you said, they'd probably be undroppable.
Yeah, because there is that point where people say, Arsenal are spending a lot of money. Do you think maybe they're going to have to sell? Like they're going to have to take a hit, sell one of their big hitters to sort of.
I think that just puts us back, doesn't it? Just defeats the objects. I think I just want to, defeat the objects.
Yes,
before we go tonight, one thing I want to touch on before we go is, again, it's to do with signings, and it's to do with our midfield, and it's whether Arteta feels that on the same lines as if with Martinelli and Smith Rowe, are they capable of taking us to where we want to take them? Does he feel that Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka need something? We need something different in the midfield there. Do we need a different type of player? Do we need someone different from Granit Xhaka? Do we need someone who can give Thomas Partey that competition? You said before you wasn't too worried about the midfield. You'd rather have a left back. But how important it is for you, just because I know it is, you feel we do need a midfield player.
Yeah.
How important is it to get someone, and what type of midfield player would you be looking for? And what would you do with other midfield players that are at the club already?
Yeah. So my theory on it is that I think Arteta if everyone's fit, I think he'll play Thomas Partey in the centre of the midfield, and then he'll play two players slightly higher either side of him. He'll play Martin Odegaard on the right, and and at the moment he's been playing Xhaka on the left. But I think that he might want to maybe put someone else there instead of Xhaka. But what I would do is, if
Vieira, is he strong enough for the middle?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think he is probably at the moment. I don't think you could play Odegaard and Vieira in the midfield. I think that's a bit too lightweight. What I would do if Partey cannot play, I don't think you can replace him. I think you would need to go back to having like maybe Xhaka and someone next to him in the midfield as like a double pivot. At the moment, I think he's going to be playing Partey on his own with two players slightly higher. So,
do you think, Jerome? Just sorry. Do you saying like you need a certain type of, I don't know, the boring footballer, if you like, who does the dirty, rubbishy jobs? Yeah, I suppose all teams do it. Liverpool have an Henderson, Man City have a Rodri. Spurs had a Holberg. They always have these type of players who really can't do much else apart from sit, take the ball from the back and play it off. You're saying about if we didn't have Xhaka and we played, do you think you're taking something away from Partey's game though, Jerome? If you're asking him to do a Xhaka type job.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he's been playing Partey on his own, but then he's played Xhaka slightly higher than where he normally plays.
Yeah. So you think he could do like a defensive midfield job, Partey?
Yeah, I think that's what he's going to be doing. I think he's going to be sitting at the base of the midfield with a couple more slightly attacking minded players. One being Odegaard, and I think the link with people were talking about Tielemans. I think he would be the one to play.
I'm a fan of Xhaka, as you know.
Yeah.
But you have to look at for the good of the side. If Partey can do that job, and I do need to see a little bit more mobility from him. He's been so stop and start. I think even for most Arsenal players, I don't think we still haven't seen what he can do. It'd be nice to see him for like 25 games non-stop without getting injured, so we could actually see if he could do it. But personally, for me, I would like to see Partey and Xhaka fight it out for that position, just like Man City with Fernandinho and Rodri at the time when they were fighting it out at one point. Yeah. And then I agree with you, mate. I think you should have with Odegaard and Tielemans would be perfect. And then you got would you say our centre backs are good enough to be able to play in front of one DM? Would he be able to protect those two?
See, I think that's why I like the sound of this Martinez at left back, because he's not like an attacking full throttle left back that's going to get caught up the pitch. He's like, for me,
that's a great point.
For me,
that's a great point.
He's like he's a defensive player that isn't interested really in attacking. His interest attacking is by playing good passes from deep. That's how he contributes to the attack, is by
it's a great point.
Spreading passes. So I think if you've got Tommy Asu at right back, obviously he does get forward a bit, but he's not going to get out of position. So you have your proper four centre backs with maybe your Partey in front, and the rest of them, say go and play. I'd be quite comfortable with that.
It sounds like you'd be more comfortable with Martinez, Jerome, than Tierney.
Yeah. Well, I do like Tierney a lot, but for me, he's not available enough.
Yeah. I think it's a great point what you just made, because if you do play Martinez as that left-sided centre-back, even a left-back, he can move into a centre-back position when need be during the game. I'm only repeating what you said, and then he can move into the left side of midfield if either the others wanted to go forward or we're attacking, he can drop in. He's got so much about his game that I can see why Arsenal going forward in for this guy. I think the more we talk about him, Jerome, I think the more important we can see that he would be to our team. It is one that we've got to keep our keep our fingers crossed on. Let's just have a look at a couple more of these comments before we go. Yeah. Apart from Martinez, who is next? Jerome, do you want to take this? Who would you like to see if Martinez came in after this?
Well, look, we all had our, maybe it's been going too strong, but we all thought maybe Rafinha was the next one. So we need to change, change our route a little bit.
Maybe it's because we had Saka on that right side that it wasn't that important. I suppose if it was me, I suppose you got to be looking at Tielemans, haven't you? After Martinez, to bring in. I mean, that's something that Arsenal got no excuses about the money. If they want him, they can go and get him. It's 25 million for a Belgium international, who I think is quality.
Yeah.
And it has gone a little bit quiet, and he don't seem to be mentioned with any other clubs, and there's no talk of a contract being signed with Leicester. So for me, it would be Tielemans. Yeah. This one. Sure, GM11's had a higher mentality than ESR, Emil Smith-Rowe. Yep, but most of what we're saying there, Amadou, Emil Smith-Rowe needs a little bit more confidence. KS1 TV, hello, that will be Kieran. How you doing, mate? Let's have a look. What's Kieran got to say? Partey what he's best when he simplified his game and then broke out as an option. When he was trying to go forward and back, it was too much and he was sloppy. I think what Kieran's saying there is that, Partey was trying to do too much all the time, trying to, bring the ball out and losing it. And he wasn't he? He was getting caught on the ball. Do you agree with that, Jerome, that he should simplify his game?
Yeah, I think so. That's why I think it will be just sitting in front of the defence, collecting the ball from them, spraying it out. He can beat the press. He can beat a man if he comes towards him, but not to get caught out of position, because then the midfield's in a mess. So keep it simple. Keep it simple. He's good enough. He's good enough to keep it simple. He's such a good player that he doesn't need to do anything else. If he just keeps his game simple, then that's good enough.
Just needs to keep fit, doesn't he? Yeah. We've just spoken about two players there. We've just spoken about Thomas Partey, and we touched on Kieran Tierney, and in the middle of that, we were speaking about Lisandro Martinez, and he sort of gives competition to both those players in those positions, doesn't he? If he's at the club, he can push Thomas Partey, and he also can push Kieran Tierney. I think, the more and more we talk, the more and more I think about it. I think this guy's massive, and probably a more important signing, Jerome, than probably what maybe Rafinha is to the club.
Yeah, possibly. The thing is, I think the winger is massively important, because if anything happens to Saka, you need a top quality player to share the minutes with him.
No confidence in Pepe. No,
I can't see it. I think he'll go somewhere.
I think so. Yeah. So you think it's important that we get a winger in, Jerome? Yeah.
I think it is. I think the more you think about it, I think unless they feel that Marquinhos is ready, but
he's only young, isn't he? He hasn't even had many games for. I mean, there is slight interest for Anthony at Ajax, but if they're not going to pay 65 for Rafinha, then I can't see they're going to pay 70 million for Anthony.
I think you've got to pay a lot of money for this winger, because you're not only paying for the player to come in, you're basically paying to protect Saka.
Yeah,
that's what you're doing with that money, I think. Yeah. So
it's a difficult sell, isn't it, as well, to a player to say we want you to cover. It's going to be difficult to bring someone in like that. But I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, mate. Stephen, what Stephen got to say here? I think we should use Rafinha money and go out and buy a top midfielder or two. What we've just been talking about, really, wasn't it? Bringing in probably maybe a Tillemans, someone like that. I think we do need a midfielder. I think we do need a winger, and I think we do need a replacement left back, come centre back. So ideally, I still think we need 3 players. How many players do you think we'll bring in? Jerome, how many can you see coming in?
So in addition to Jesus, I think maximum 3.
You think 3?
Yeah.
And what areas are the 3?
So it would be hopefully this Martinez. I think they will go for a centre midfielder and then a winger. That's what I think. That's what that's the maximum I think of what they'll do. They won't do any more than that.
So, someone like Ruben Neves.
I think I would prefer Tielemans to Neves, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Not as more as a defensive midfield player, Neves.
I'm not too sure. We're forgetting about Lokonga, aren't we? No one's even mentioned him.
No. It's again, the fact that he's looking at players like Tillemans and he's bringing in Vieira as well around that area. It's it tells you something that that he just feels that we need more, or these players are just squad players. And I think because of the way we sort of fell away at the end of the season, I think that's just proved to Arteta that I can't go into next season getting beat 3 on the trot by teams like Palace, Brighton, Southampton's. We can't do that again. Yeah. Teams are strengthening, mate. Man United are strengthening now. Chelsea are strengthening. Tottenham are strengthening. Man United and Liverpool are already gone. So we're fighting with sort of say 2 other teams to get that other Champions League place. And obviously the Europa League's very important to us next season, mate. So we're going to have to want to play as quite a strong team in that as well. So right. Let's just finish up quickly. Let's just finish on these these comments. Let's just have a quick hello, Melvin. How you doing, mate? How you doing? Good to see you here. Kieran says, I think the wing was important, but there's more options on the wing. Yeah, definitely. We need a winger to help Saka. Yeah, we've already said that. And Purdue, Jerome mentioned that, Saka, he can't play another season, can he, mate, with the amount of games that he did. Yeah. He started to fall away. Centre midfield is limited. 25 million is an easy win. Definitely agree there. Not going to get a C in the MV standard for that. Totally agree. Top class is Tillemans. I hope we see that. I hope we stick to what we're doing. 3 more. Yeah, I think 3. We definitely need an 8. Certainly do. And that's a Tillemans. Is Smith Rowe safe? Is he safe? Is he probably safe in the team? I assume Melvin's asking, Jerome. Do you feel his place is safe, or he's going to be like a...
Oh, looks like Steve's gone for a bit. Is Smith Rowe safe? We spoke about this a little bit earlier.
For my next trick, he just appears.
I think he's gonna play a lot of minutes, Smith Rowe. I think he'll interchange a lot with Martinelli still. Mm-hmm. But like we said, it's just about the consistency. I think he's quality player, but just needs to show it. Needs to show it more often in games. Yeah, and not go missing.
Definitely. Kieran, Lokonga is 2 seasons away. I agree. I think he's still way off. I think we got a little bit overexcited last season, to be quite honest with you, over him. Although I think he'll come good. And Purdue is saying, so you're saying it's better to spend Rafinha money in a midfield than him? Last question, mate. So do you think it's better to spend the money on the midfield rather than a winger?
Well,
or do you think a wing? Or what way would you go?
Well, I think it looks as though the midfield money would be half of probably the Rafinha money on Tielemans, and that's a very good player. So I don't think it will come down to having to spend the Rafinha money on a midfielder. They've obviously got that amount of money allocated, I think, for a winger, and so fine. You know, these attacking players normally cost more anyway, don't they? The ones that sort of make the difference.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right. Thank you, Jerome. Look, thanks for everybody who's joining us tonight. Thanks you for everybody over on Twitter. Just put some comments in the underneath the YouTube tonight or tomorrow or whenever. Tell us what you think about some of these subjects that we've spoken about. Tell us what you think about the new signing of Jesus. Tell us what you think. Are you disappointed with what's happened with Rafinha? I am, to be honest with you. I can't see the point in us going back in for a second bid if we're not going to bid for the asking price. And look, we'll be back tomorrow with a transfer exchange show. So hopefully we'll have some more Arsenal news there. So please join us tomorrow. Subscribe to the Arsenal show. Subscribe to the Transfer X show. And look, Jerome, thanks for joining us tonight. I've enjoyed it, mate.
Yeah, pleasure. Cheers. It was good. It all happening, isn't it, at the moment?
It's all happening. It's busy. It's busy. You could just go on and talk forever. But it's time to call it a night. But look, until next time, peace out. Stay safe, and make sure you still wash your hands.